The applause still rang in my ears when Noah pulled me into his side. Arms slung across my waist like we were 15 years old and just won prom royalty. He smiled wide for the cameras. "You were incredible," I said, steady, low. I adjusted the mic on his collar. He winked. "They love it when I improvise." "You weren't improvising. That was the keynote we rehearsed 3 times. Still," he said. "They ate it up." "Did you see the woman in the front row? Crying?" I nodded, folding the cue cards. He didn't ask why I brought them, even though he never used them. That was my job: bring what he wouldn't need, catch what he'd drop, vanish before the spotlight noticed. The event coordinator approached, clipboard in hand. "Noah, there's a photo op upstairs with the donors. Can we grab you?" Noah grinned. "Absolutely. Give me a sec with my wife." He turned to me the moment she walked off. 10 minutes max," he said, adjusting his cufflinks. "Then we can duck out. Just need to stroke a few egos. I'll pack up the equipment." He leaned in. "You're perfect. Seriously. None of this works without you." Then he was gone, chasing cameras and checks. I walked backstage, my heels clicking softly against polished concrete. I knew the rhythm of teardown. The cables, the lighting kit, the branded backdrop rolled into its case like a body bag. I'd done it hundreds of times. Quietly, efficiently. We were a system. Or so I thought. I opened his laptop to export the footage. The screen woke to an open tab: messages. A small, blinking cursor hovered at the bottom of a thread. "Can't wait for tonight. You were on fire." I was dripping. Noah had typed a reply. It just hadn't been sent yet. "Kaya, I'm still wearing the lipstick you like." I stared at the screen, not blinking, not breathing. The cursor pulsed, my hand moved on its own. I clicked the profile photo. Kaya Monroe. Blonde, glossy, fitness influencer. 200,000 followers and a penchant for bathrobe mirror selfies. The time stamp on the first message was 3 months ago. 3 months of this. While I coordinated tours and secured sponsors and made sure his tailor didn't forget he preferred double-vented jackets. 3 months of secrets he couldn't even keep separate from his work machine. The backstage lights hummed above me. I looked down at my watch. 6 minutes until he reappeared. I opened his calendar, cross-referenced hotel bookings, reviewed rideshare receipts. One dinner in Miami, tonight's off-grid in Sedona, one last-minute trip to LA. That didn't match any speaking engagement I'd booked. Patterns, tells. None of it hurt the way I thought it would. It wasn't heartbreak. It was arithmetic. I copied the thread, emailed it to myself from an account I hadn't used in years. Then I closed every tab, cleared the history, and unplugged the camera. When he returned, he was flushed and glowing, as if compliments from strangers could power him better than love ever could. "God, they're obsessed with me," he said, kissing my temple. "We've got something big here, babe, bigger than ever." I handed him the laptop. "Let's go home. You've got a 6 a.m. call with the London team." He groaned. "Thanks for the reminder." He didn't notice the way I held his gaze just a beat longer than usual. Later, in bed, I watched him sleep, his hand draped over the edge, mouth slightly open, peaceful, vulnerable, and fake. He'd performed so long, he believed his own lines, even the ones he whispered to me at night. "You're everything. I couldn't do this without you. You complete the message." But the message was hollow, rehearsed. I turned over, letting my breath settle. He didn't just betray me. He betrayed the truth. The real work we'd done. The lives we'd touched, the brand we'd built with careful strategy, ethical positioning, and values I'd written. He stole my piece to build his persona, and he thought I'd never notice. The next morning, over his protein shake, he grinned, thinking we'd do another live stream Friday. Real-time coaching call. Interactive. What do you think? I sipped my coffee. Sure. I'll draft the bullet points. You're amazing. He leaned in to kiss me, the scent of mango and protein on his breath. Seriously, I don't say it enough. You don't. He laughed. Wow, brutal this morning. I smiled faintly. Just honest. He picked up his phone, scrolled, replied to someone. Probably her. Maybe others. I opened my planner, checked the time zone difference for Camille, an old friend in New York. I hadn't spoken to her in years, but I would. Soon? Hey, he said, chewing a protein bar. You're good with tech, right? I raised a brow. That's generous of you. I mean, obviously you are. But you didn't happen to mess with my phone last night, did you? One of my messages didn't send. I looked him dead in the eye. No, I said. You must have imagined it. I was in the studio that morning, finalizing Noah's live stream overlay. His laptop sat open beside me, notifications off, but not muted. A faint buzz vibrated across the table. The message preview flashed on screen. Kaya, you still wearing the black ones? I'm thinking about your hands. I didn't flinch. I clicked. Her profile photo filled the screen. A low-angle pout, all glimmer and gloss. I recognized her now. She'd tagged him in a story once. That moment, when your favorite speaker says your name on stage at the time, he'd brushed it off. She's just a fan. That crowd-pleaser energy comes with the territory. But this wasn't fandom. This was a thread stretching 69 messages deep. Photos, late-night voice notes, inside jokes. A pet name, Ruthless Daddy. My name nowhere. My fingerprints erased from his digital life like I'd never existed. I clicked through. Kaya, don't let your wife ruin your focus. You're building an empire. Babe Noah. She's not even a factor anymore. You're what's next. Not a factor. I reread that one twice. He had sent it 2 days after I stayed up editing his press kit. Until 2 a.m. I copied the thread. Not all of it. Just enough. Enough to remind myself I wasn't imagining things. Enough to understand this wasn't a moment of weakness. It was a long-term plan. A quiet betrayal woven into his schedule, masked by charisma and keynotes. I minimized the window, checked the recording levels, and pressed my headphones over my ears. But I didn't hit play. I stared straight ahead, the glass panel catching my reflection. A woman still in soft makeup from yesterday's shoot, hair pulled back, efficient, tired, loyal. I didn't look heartbroken. I looked like someone solving a puzzle. Noah walked in 30 minutes later, hoodie unzipped, holding 2 coffees. Extra oat, no foam, he said, setting mine down. I tilted my head. Still trying to win best husband? He grinned. Always. He sat beside me, legs stretched out, shoulders relaxed. You see Kaya's story last night? He asked. That spa she went to in Calabasas? I think we should book something like that for the team next quarter. Wellness optics. I sipped slowly. Is that what you admire about her? Her optics? He smirked. She's just good at building buzz. And what are we building? I asked. He looked at me then. A flicker of something behind his eyes. Confusion. Guilt. Or just the momentary panic of someone whose secrets felt too close to the surface? We're building legacy, babe. Right? I said. Legacy. Later that evening, we were on the couch. Laptops open, notes scattered. I need your take on this, he said, waving at his screen. Kaya sent me a draft for a wellness collab pitch. She wants to co-host something with the brand. Women's confidence coaching. Think we can loop it into the July event? I didn't answer immediately. You're okay with it, right? He asked. You've said we should expand our female demographic. Is that what I said? I asked. You're not jealous, are you? That word. I closed my laptop. Noah, I said, calmly, have I ever been jealous of your audience? It's not just audience anymore. He replied, choosing his words too carefully. Kaya's sharp. She's marketable. She's young. That kind of collaboration. She's young. I repeated, that's what makes her valuable. He chuckled, uneasy. No. I mean, she brings energy. I stood. You're not subtle, you know. Not as much as you think. He blinked. What's that supposed to mean? It means, I said, I schedule your life. I see everything. Calendars, confirmations, hotel overlaps. I've seen her name before. He froze. You went through my email. You left it open. That's not the same. It's exactly the same. He opened his mouth, closed it, recalibrated. Look, he said, it was a mistake. It started as flirtation, harmless, really, but you and we've been distant. I crossed my arms. You define distant as me working overnight to keep your brand clean, while you sleep in other people's cities. It didn't mean anything, he said. But you wanted it to. Silence. Are you leaving me? He asked. No, I said. His shoulders relaxed. Not yet. He tried to touch my arm, but I stepped back. I'm not here to make a scene, I said. You don't need to defend what you've done. You made choices. Now I'm making mine. His eyes narrowed. You're not going to ruin everything over this. I laughed once, dry, quiet. Noah, I built everything. That night, he slept. He always did. I stayed awake at the kitchen table, sorting through notes, contracts, brand deals. I watched his following rise on my spreadsheet, charted against press mentions, engagement rates, and growth metrics. I opened a clean document. Header. Assets to reclaim. He typed my name. Then I typed Kaya's. Then I saved the file to an encrypted drive. 1 betrayal. 1,000 calculations. Asterisk asterisk. It was hidden in the bottom drawer beneath a stack of branded journals we'd never actually sold. The drawer stuck slightly, like it didn't want to give up what was inside. I pulled gently. The notebooks slid forward. Beneath them, wrapped in a microfiber cloth like it was fragile or sacred, lay a matte black phone I'd never seen before. No case, no lock screen, just quiet power. I pressed the side button. It hummed awake. Noah had always said he hated clutter. One device, one calendar, one focus. He gave keynotes about it. But this wasn't a second phone. This was a second life. The phone lit up with unread messages, 6 different usernames across encrypted apps. Most started with first names and ended in emojis. Tara, loved our little secret yesterday. Same time next week. Lacey, that clip of you speaking made me blush. Kaya, miss you already, Daddy. My fingers moved like I was studying a crime scene. I didn't gasp. I didn't cry. I navigated to the photo gallery. hundreds of saved images. Some mine, others weren't. Videos, too. Voice notes. Screenshots of me from our own Instagram, followed by texts to women mocking the caption. Power. Couple energy. Lamau. If only they knew. He used my image as proof of stability, then leveraged that illusion for sex, secrecy, sponsorships. Noah came home late that night, whistling. You left the studio light on, he called. I was sorting equipment. He walked in, tossed his keys in the bowl. You look tired. Didn't sleep. He kissed my cheek, too fast to register my stillness. New campaign launched tomorrow. He said, you good to edit the copy tonight? Send it over. He paused. You okay? Just focused. He nodded slowly. Okay, boss. I smiled thinly. Right? After he showered, I went back to the phone. I opened the Notes app. There it was. A list titled Legacy Plan, Solo Options. Bullet points. Numbered. Separate brand concept from current identity. Phase out couple branding. Test Kaya's engagement on wellness reels. Update LLC filings post-divorce delay. Announcement until Q4. Secure legal for prenup reversal options? He'd written it 6 weeks ago. 6. That week I'd stayed up all night coordinating his event launch in Chicago. That week he'd posted a photo of us with the caption built on trust. The next morning, I placed the phone exactly where I'd found it. Cloth wrapped, drawer shut, journals stacked on top. I didn't confront him. Confrontation is for people who want answers. I wanted evidence. We sat across from each other at breakfast, laptops open, his voice relaxed. Let's film too. Reels today, he said. Something candid. Authentic. Maybe you in the background, editing. People eat that up. Do they? Yeah. Gives us that grounded couple feel. I sipped my tea. Interesting word. Feel. What? Nothing. He turned his screen toward me. Kaya sent me a TikTok trend she thinks we should try. Couples coaching but with, like, playful conflict. Want to choreograph something tonight? I'll check my calendar. He grinned. Love that you're always on top of the details. You'd fall apart without me, I said lightly. He winked. Literally. I messaged Jared Lynn that afternoon. Hey, can we review the LLC holdings next week? I'd like to revisit asset division scenarios. Just hypothetical planning. Don't mention to Noah yet early stage. Jared. Sure. Wednesday at 2 p.m. Perfect. Keep it between us, he replied with a thumbs up. That night, Noah came in from the garage, shirt damp with sweat. Boxed up the extra merch, he said, shipping it to the Vegas venue myself. Cheaper than using the vendor. You're budgeting now? Smart optics. People like a CEO who sweats. Especially if he sweats on camera, I said. He laughed. Exactly. He grabbed water, leaned against the counter. You've been quiet lately, he said. I've been working. Yeah, but less talk. Fewer notes. Less input. I trust you. He squinted. That's new. Growth. I said, smiling. He grinned back. I like this new vibe. Of course he did. It made betrayal easier in the shower. I stared at the tiles. One phone. One calendar. One focus. That's what he sold from the stage. But what he built behind the scenes was chaos. Distraction masked as ambition. Truth blurred beneath charisma. He didn't have a brand. He had a performance. And I had the script. I would keep collecting, not because I needed revenge, because I needed receipts. Asterisk smile a little. Noah whispered, his hand resting gently on my back. You look tired. I adjusted my posture, leaned slightly toward him. The phone snapped the photo. A moment later, it was on our joint page. At no handle. When the person behind the camera is also the reason the vision exists. Hashtag power couple. Hashtag built not bodybuilt. Yes, but not by him. We stood on stage 3 minutes later, back to back, answering questions about work-life balance. He cracked a joke about me being the real CEO. The audience laughed. I smiled the same way I always did, chin tilted, eyes soft, mouth closed, measured. Noah's arm went around my waist. I didn't flinch. That was the job. Great energy tonight, Michelle said backstage, her iPad hugged against her chest. Thanks, I replied. She turned to Noah. That line about love being a business asset. Gold. He winked. Off the cuff. I didn't correct him. I'd written that line 6 months ago, middle of the night, after watching him fumble an interview. I'd written half his brilliance. Michelle scrolled through logistics. Flights to Atlanta are booked for Monday. Hotel confirmed. Want me to finalize the podcast guest list? I nodded. Send it to me first. I'll reshuffle the order. Noah clapped his hands. You two are a dream team. Michelle laughed. You married your manager. Smartest move you ever made. Noah's smile twitched. Yeah, lucky me. In the hotel room, he tossed his jacket over a chair and pulled out his phone. I'm thinking we do a reel tomorrow, he said. A behind the scenes of us flying private. Add a voice over something about focus and flow. You're not flying private, I said. Why not? We comped first class through the sponsor deal. You want to eat 10 grand for a 2-hour flex. He shrugged. Kaya says the optics. I turned. Kaya says. He paused. I mean, she's big on perception. I was just quoting. I folded my blouse and placed it carefully in the suitcase. You're welcome to charter it on your dime, I said. He laughed, brushing it off. You're feisty tonight. No, I said. I'm tired. Michelle texted me the next morning. Michelle. FYI, Kaya asked me for brand login access. Said you'd approved it. I stared at the message. My thumb hovered me. I didn't. Don't give her access to anything, Michelle. Got it. Just double-checking. I placed the phone down, calmly. The sun was rising through the blinds. Noah walked in, shirtless, sipping his protein shake. Ready for Atlanta? He asked. I've been ready, I said. He smiled like I'd complimented him. On the flight, we reviewed the outline. My outline. He read it aloud, editing as he went, like he was the one who'd thought it up. When I say build with love, scale with logic, you think that hits? You've said it a dozen times. It hits. He leaned back. Our followers keep asking for couple content. Should we do a Q&A video? Something raw? I kept my tone even. If you think it fits the brand. He reached across and squeezed my hand. You're everything. You know that. I looked at our fingers. Sure. Atlanta was heat and pressure. 3 events in 48 hours. Michelle ran the floor. I managed the green rooms. Noah floated from handshake to spotlight. That night, we sat shoulder to shoulder at the speaker's dinner, dressed in matching navy. You too. Someone said from across the table. Goals. Honestly. Noah beamed. She's the anchor. I raised my wine. And he's the show. We clinked glasses. Everyone laughed. It was perfect. Until Michelle leaned over during dessert and whispered, Kaya just DM'd me again. She's asking if the brand's planning a full handoff to her soon. I blinked once. Excuse me? Her words, not mine, said Noah promised her a transition by Q3. I smiled at Michelle like nothing was wrong. Thanks for letting me know, I said, back in the hotel. I waited for him to finish brushing his teeth. You told Kaya she'd replace me. His hand froze mid-wipe. What? She's texting the team like she's next in line. He laughed. She's just ambitious. She thinks she's taking my place. He set the towel down. She's not. Come on. You're the structure. She's a sparkle. I folded my arms. Then stopped telling her things that confuse the two. He watched me carefully. Is this jealousy again? It's disrespect. He stepped closer. We're under stress. Big launch. Big numbers. You're overinterpreting. I nodded slowly. You're right. He smiled, relieved. I smiled, too. That's what I'd been doing all along, performing. I started with the bank accounts. Quietly, the business account had my name. The brand account did not. I changed that. Just a line of code. A permissions toggle. Noah never noticed. He didn't log in unless he needed screenshots for his slides. Next came the contracts. I reviewed every vendor agreement, sponsorship clause, and digital license. Half were vague. A few were dangerously loose. I amended them. I backdated what I legally could. The ones I couldn't, I flagged and rerouted. Every new signature filtered through me. He called it delegation. I called it reclaiming. Babe, did you change the Squarespace admin? Noah asked over breakfast. I streamlined it. I said, too many logins. Cool. Just couldn't get in. I'll forward access. He went back to his smoothie. No further questions. Jaredlin's office was beige and silent, like it didn't want to draw attention to itself. That suited me. Appreciate you meeting off the books, I said, handing him a flash drive. He slid it into his laptop. I didn't ask. I know. He skimmed. These are amendment drafts, operational revisions. Some are mine. Some were never filed. He raised a brow. Why now? Because I'm cleaning house. He studied me a moment. Does Noah know? No. And does he need to? I looked him in the eye. Not yet. Back home, I created a new LLC. Separate name. No ties to him. Consulting, technically. But it would grow. Quietly. Strategically. Just like he had. Except with truth behind the curtain. Noah walked in while I was finishing the IN application. What's that? He asked, towel slung around his neck. Michelle wants us to create a secondary funnel for niche clients, I said. Better margins. Smart. You're always ahead of it. Yes, I said. I am. We flew to Phoenix next. A men's leadership summit. All black polos and cold plunges. Noah gave a speech on clarity. He used a line I'd written last year in a fight, when silence becomes strategy. You've already won. The crowd went wild. Afterward, in the green room, he turned to me. Did you feel that? I felt something. He laughed. That was peak Noah. I smiled. It was. Michelle pulled me aside backstage. You've been different lately, she said. How? Less involved, but sharper. Like you know something we don't. I didn't answer. You okay? She asked. I'm fine. She studied me. If you're planning something, I'm on your side. I nodded once. That was all I gave her, but it was enough. Kaya posted a story 2 days later. A soft focus shot of Noah in a hoodie. smiling at something off the camera. K.A.I.A. Monroe. He's the realist. Don't believe everything you see. The comments lit up at Crystal Coach. Are they a thing now? What happened to the wife? At Ritadove. Didn't they build that brand together? Noah called a content emergency meeting. We need to shift the narrative, he said. Then stop giving her content. I said. She's her own person. No, I said. She's your mirror. And she's cracking. He slammed the table harder than necessary. I'm not doing this right now. Exactly, I said, rising. You're not. That night, I deleted his name from 3 shared folders, replaced it with mine. Jared called the next morning. LLC. Paperwork finalized. You're solo on all filings. Good, I said. Is the NDA clause enforceable? If he leaks it, yes. If she does, it depends. Then double-blind it. Jared paused. He's not going to see this coming. I'm not aiming to hurt him. No. I leaned back in my chair. I'm just cleaning up my half of the stage. Noah held a live stream 2 nights later. He asked me to be on screen, and I declined. You sure? He asked. People love us together. I don't want to dilute your message, I said. He took it as a compliment. I watched from the kitchen. He smiled into the ring light, told them about trust, about teamwork, about how Elle made the vision real. He used my name like it was currency. The camera clicked off. He stood, stretching. That went well. I handed him a protein bar. You're very convincing. He kissed the top of my head. Only because you make it easy. The next day, I emptied the contents of our brand's Dropbox into a personal drive, labeled each folder by campaign. Not out of spite, for record keeping. He walked in as I was finishing. You've been intense lately, he said. I'm organizing. He rubbed his jaw. You do that when you're mad. I'm not mad, I said. I'm preparing. For what? I met his eyes. For whatever's next. Asterisk on stage. Noah sounded like conviction. Every word clipped just right. Every pause perfectly timed. The crowd leaned in like he was feeding them something sacred. Off stage, he tossed his blazer across a chair, kicked off his shoes, and muttered, God, these people are exhausting. He didn't thank the team, didn't glance at the feedback, just poured himself a drink. You crushed it, I said, eyes still on the rundown sheet. Obviously, he said, slumping on the couch. That guy from Peak Focus offered a retainer. Wants me to consult on their rebrand. That's good. Yeah, but I told him I don't do hourly. I'm not some coach for hire. I'm a movement. He said that with a smirk, like modesty was beneath him now. I marked the revenue in our tracker. He watched me for a second, then said, You've been kind of flat lately. You sick or something? I looked up. No. Burned out. No. He swirled the drink in his glass. You don't even argue anymore. Just quiet. Would you prefer a fight? I'd prefer something. I set down my pen. You like it when I'm loud, but only in ways you can use. That's not fair, isn't it? He frowned. You used to be warm. I used to be naive. The next morning, I emailed our accountant about a separate audit. Just my portion of the holdings. Nothing dramatic. Just clarity. Noah barged in mid-call, shirtless, phone in hand. Did you see Kaya's post? He asked. No. She's wearing that necklace I gave her. People are speculating again. I paused. So take it down. I asked. She said no. She says she's owning her story. I stared at him. And what's your story, Noah? He didn't answer. We met Michelle for lunch. A quiet cafe, small plates, high ceilings. Noah liked the aesthetic. Authentic but aspirational. Midway through the meal, he launched into a new campaign idea. We build a resilience weekend package. He said, 3-day immersion, couples, singles, burnout recovery. I headline. Elle runs the strategy breakout. Maybe Kaya handles the wellness segment. Michelle hesitated. That might send a confusing message. Why? Kaya's controversial right now. He waved her off. Only if we let it be. If we control the framing. It's a redemption arc. I spoke up, calm. You're not a storyteller, Noah. You're a salesman. He smiled like it was a compliment. Exactly. That night, I found a message on his studio iMac. He'd left it open. Careless again. Kaya, can't wait to film again. Still dripping from the last round. It was dated the same day we filmed our couple's Q&A. He was to people, maybe more, and none of them were honest. In bed, he reached for me. His touch didn't land. You good? He asked. I'm just thinking. About nothing. That needs fixing. He turned away, frustrated. I didn't soothe him. I didn't fill the silence. I let it stretch, long and clean. The next day, we shot content in the atrium. Natural light, plants in the background. He wore a fitted navy shirt. I stood behind the camera. Start with the story about your first failed pitch, I said. He nodded. You sure? Yes. Vulnerability tracks better. He launched into it. His hands moved. His voice softened in just the right places. I fed him the beats from behind the lens, coached his pauses, sharpened his arcs. Michelle watched from the side, earbuds in, gaze flicking between us. You to make it look easy, she said. I didn't answer. When the shoot wrapped, Noah hugged me hard. You still make me better, he said into my ear. I stepped back. That's what I do. Later, Michelle lingered in the kitchen. He doesn't know, does he? She asked. I stirred my tea. Know what? That you're done pretending. I looked at her. Do you? She nodded. I've known for weeks. And I've got screenshots too. That night, Noah was drunk. Not slurred, not messy. Just louder, looser. He paced the living room, brand-decked hoodie draped over one shoulder. People don't get how much pressure this is, he said. To be the symbol, the voice, the damn product. You made yourself the product. Because you told me I could. He turned to me. Remember that. You said I could be the brand. I said we could be partners. He threw his hands up. Same thing. No, I said softly. It never was. He stared at me, and for the first time in years, he looked unsure. Asterisk. It started with a flagged transaction. $2,000 for $100. Transferred from our business account to a vendor I didn't recognize. Pine Silo Creative. I opened the invoice. It was vague. Consulting services. No date. No deliverable. No signature. I searched the name. It was a shell. I checked the account history again. 3 more payments to different companies. All with the same billing address. Sedona, Arizona. The same week Noah claimed he was at a leadership retreat. He wasn't paying for services. He was laundering brand money into side deals. Or worse, covering something up. Hey, I asked casually over lunch. Who's Pine Silo Creative? He looked up from his phone. What? There's a few payments to them on the books. Just wondered what they're doing for us. He chewed, nodded slowly. Right? They were helping with some back-end automation. Kaya referred them. Got it. You didn't mention them. Didn't think it mattered. It does. I handle the taxes. Remember. He gave a short laugh. That's why I love you. You care about all the stuff I hate. I smiled. Don't worry, he added. They're legit. I nodded. I'm sure. Michelle and I met in a WeWork 3 days later. I need access to the past 6 months of receipts, I said. I figured, she replied. I pulled them already. She opened her laptop. We scrolled in silence. Airfare to cities without bookings. Spa receipts tagged as wellness research. 5-figure influencer fees with no campaign trail. This is fraud, I said. She nodded. At least a dozen violations. Enough to bury him. She paused. Enough to open questions he can't close. I looked at her. Do you want out? She hesitated. I want to be on the right side of the story. I closed the laptop. Then you already are. That night, I found an old backup folder from Noah's hard drive. A trove of draft invoices, correspondence, bank statements, and one email chain. He negotiated a co-branding fee with Kaya for an unlaunched supplement line. He offered her 30%. He gave me 0%. You're working late again, he said, walking in with a towel around his neck. I'm reviewing the books. Anything scary? I looked up. Depends what you consider scary. He smirked. You're cute when you're stern. I'm not being stern. He kissed my cheek. Then don't work too hard. Big shoot tomorrow. Don't worry, I said. I'm ready. The next morning, I sat in the passenger seat as Noah drove. Question, I said lightly. What's the name of the new media kit designer? He hesitated. Shannon, I think. Because you wired $7,800 to a Brittany. Shit, he said. Right? Brittany's her assistant. They invoice through her account. I turned my head. Interesting. He looked over. You're being weird. I'm auditing. Since when? Since I noticed how many people are being paid to keep quiet. He didn't respond. I let the silence fill the car. Jared met me in a coffee shop that Thursday. This is enough for a freeze, he said, flipping through the printed documents. Not a seizure, but we can halt withdrawals on anything with your name. I want to build a firewall, I said. Not burn the house. He studied me. You're doing this calmly. That's the point. You sure you don't want to confront him? I met his eyes. I don't need his confession. I need his collapse. At home, I added two-step authentication to every shared file. I rerouted notification emails to my private inbox. I created a mirrored drive, one copy for me, one for legal counsel. Then I deleted all trace of the backup logs from his devices. He would never see it coming. Noah knocked on my office door. Need your eye on a script. Kaya and I are testing a joint pitch. Just a draft. Email it, I said. He walked in instead, barefoot, coffee in hand. You know, he said, we're hitting a new level. Media, sponsors, even book agents are circling. You should be excited. I am. You don't show it. I'm managing the back end of a machine leaking thousands of dollars in shadow payments. He blinked. What's that supposed to mean? Exactly what it sounds like. He studied me. Is this about Kaya? This is about theft and branding fraud and legal exposure. His smile was tight. You're exaggerating. I'm documenting. He exhaled. Jesus. Where is this coming from? You, I said, then I shut the laptop and left the room. In my journal that night, I wrote one sentence. He sold my silence for receipts I never signed. Asterisk. The morning I reached out to Camille, I made sure Noah was across town. He was filming with Kaya at a rented spot, part of a co-branded content experiment he'd pitched as visionary. I'd approved it with a smile. Let him think I was aligning. Camille answered on the second ring. Elle, it's me. Her voice softened instantly. It's been years. 7, I said. But I need your discretion. I need your facts. Are you in danger? No, I said. But someone's about to be. We met at a small cafe in Manhattan. No phones. No bags. Just coffee and silence. She arrived first. Coat unbuttoned, pen behind her ear. Still writing longhand? I asked. Only when it matters. I slid a folder across the table. She didn't touch it yet. Tell me, she said. I nodded once. His name is Noah Carter. You've probably heard of him. Self-help guru. Clarity is currency. That's the one. You're his wife. I'm his business partner. And he's lied. To his audience. To his investors. To the media. Affairs, yes. But worse, fraud. NDA letters paid through shell vendors. Campaigns fabricated. Charities that don't exist. She raised a brow. You have proof. In that folder. With backups on an encrypted drive. And why now? I took a breath. Because I built this with him. And I'm not going down with the lie. She opened the folder and flipped through slowly. Receipts. Wire transfers. Metadata. Screen captures. When she looked up, her voice was steady. You've been preparing this for months. You know what happens if I run it. I do. You'll lose half of it. I've already lost more. She nodded once. I'll need interviews. Quiet ones. I've got names. Michelle Reyes. Jared Lynn. The lawyer. He's loyal to truth. Not Noah. Camille closed the folder. What do you want from this? Not a headline, I said. A reckoning? Back in LA. Noah greeted me at the door with a grin. Kaya. Nailed it, he said. Like, shockingly good on camera. We might have something scalable here. That's great. She wants to run the wellness tier full-time. I told her we'd discuss it. We will. He followed me into the kitchen. You're calm. Shouldn't I be? He paused. It's just nice. I handed him a protein bar. You'll need energy. The next quarter's going to be intense. I sent Camille a second file that night tax records. A note attached. Start with 2019. Follow the sponsor deductions. Her reply was immediate. You're not doing this out of spite. You're building a case. Correct, I wrote. Every betrayal leaves a trail. The next day, Michelle pulled me into the studio bathroom. I spoke to Camille, she said. She reached out? I let her. I held her gaze. You sure? Michelle nodded. You once told me loyalty and silence aren't the same. I've decided where mine goes. Good. She asked if we had any audio. I nodded slowly. We do. That night, I asked Noah if he wanted to record a podcast segment. Just us. Intimate. Organic. He lit up. God, yes. That's what people want behind the scenes. I hit record. Prompted him softly. Asked about trust. About partnership. About what it means to build something authentic. He said all the right things. He always did. Until I asked, have you ever regretted manipulating a narrative? He chuckled. Manipulation's just strategic honesty. I smiled into the mic. Say that again. He leaned in. I said manipulation is just honesty with a marketing team. Perfect. 2 days later, Camille emailed. The story's shaping. But it'll sting. You ready for that? I'm not the one who should worry. I replied. Noah called a team meeting the next morning. New partnership announcement, he said. Kai is officially onboarding as Director of Wellness Programming. Double quotes, silence. Michelle looked at me. I kept my face neutral. Noah continued. She'll be leading our retreat design and personal coaching content. Elle and I will continue building the infrastructure. I raised my hand. Is there a revised contract? He grinned. Working on it. Trust me, this is big picture stuff. Big picture often hides details. He blinked. You're not excited. I'm calculating, I said. He laughed. That's my girl. After the call, I walked into my office and opened the master contract vault. I quietly removed 2 clauses from the co-branded consultant template. I added a non-compete. I forwarded the draft to Camille. She wrote back. This is airtight. It should be, I replied. He thinks I'm still his asset. Michelle knocked on my door. Team's buzzing, she said. They're confused. About Kaya. About you. Let them be, I said. They're asking where this is going. It's going where it always does, I said. To the truth. Noah walked in an hour later. You're not mad about the Kaya thing, are you? No. Because I meant what I said. You and I are the core of the illusion, I said. What? I stood. You'll understand soon. That night, I watched the old footage. Our first live stream together. His stumbles. My prompts. The way he looked to me after every sentence. That man's gone. This one? He's walking toward a spotlight that doesn't belong to him. And I'm holding the switch. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. You're quiet again, Noah said, leaning back in his office chair. Should I be worried? I didn't answer immediately. I stared at the brand analytics dashboard. Numbers moving. Influence expanding. He waited. Then, I looked up. You're asking the wrong question. He tilted his head. What's the right one? Why you think silence means something's wrong? He laughed, trying to shake it off. Come on. You used to be opinionated. Fiery. And you liked it. I said. I still do. No. You liked when it served your story. He studied me for a moment. You've changed. Correct. At the weekly team sync, I spoke exactly once 3 words about scheduling. Michelle carried the rest. Noah didn't notice. After the call, she messaged me, Michelle. Everyone's watching him now. They're starting to see it. Me. That's the plan. Let the silence spread in the green room before his interview with Rise and Render. Noah paced. You're not coming out with me? He asked. They want just you this time. He nodded, but looked uneasy. Usually you're in the wings. I'll be behind the monitor. He ran a hand through his hair. I need your energy. I kept my tone flat. You'll be fine. On camera, he stumbled not over facts, but rhythm. He repeated a line twice. Forgot an anecdote. Smiled a beat too long off camera. I made no notes. He emerged sweaty, forced smiling. That felt weird. You said what you meant. Did I? I didn't reply. That night, he poured wine and sat beside me. You've barely said a word in days. I've been working. He handed me a glass. You mad? No. Disappointed? No. He waited again. You think I cheated, don't you? He said finally. I know you did. He stiffened. I never admitted. You don't need to. Your life speaks louder than you do. He sipped the wine. So that's it. We just pretend until we implode. We pretend until we don't. The next morning, he held the door for me as we left for the studio. You sure we shouldn't just talk this out? He asked. I'm sure we already have. I don't remember that conversation. That's because you didn't listen. He exhaled sharply. You want to win something here, don't you? Control? I already have control. I said, at the studio. He ran a coaching call with 20 clients. I watched from the shadows. They hung on his words. But I noticed the slight pause when he didn't have me feeding him stats. The stutter when he forgot his own pricing model. When he asked, right, L? And I didn't answer. He glanced around, laughed nervously. I guess she's keeping me honest. He joked. The room chuckled. He looked relieved. But I saw the tremor in his hand when he picked up the mic again. In the elevator later, he leaned against the wall. Why are you doing this? Doing what? This? The distance. The silence. You're starving me out. I pressed the button for our floor. You call it silence. I call it clarity. He didn't speak during dinner. Not until the plates were cleared. Then, softly, do you still love me? I folded the napkin. I loved the version of you that needed me. And now you only need an audience. He started overcompensating after that. Flowers, coffee runs, a hand on my back during meetings, random compliments in front of the team. Elle handles all the heavy lifting. She's the reason this brand runs. She's my compass. It was performative, but I let it play out. Let the team hear it. Let him think it worked. Michelle caught me by the stairwell. You're letting him spiral. I'm letting him perform. She nodded. They're not the same, are they? No, I said. One leads. The other distracts. She smiled faintly. You're good at this. I had a good teacher, I said. Then walked away. No one knocked on my office door that night. You free? I didn't answer. He opened it anyway. You didn't respond to the new brand concept draft. I saw it. And I have no notes. That's not like you. Maybe I'm not like me. He stood there, holding his laptop like it anchored him. You know I never meant to hurt you, right? I know you never thought you would be caught. After he left, I recorded a voice memo. For Camille. His grip is loosening. The silence is working. He's unraveling, not in public. Not yet. But soon. I uploaded it, encrypted it, sent it. The power of silence is that it invites truth to echo. Noah had filled the space for years now. It was my turn to clear it. Michelle asked me to meet her at a cafe we used to frequent before the brand outgrew the neighborhood. We sat by the window. She didn't touch her drink. You sure you want to keep doing this alone? She asked. I'm not alone, I said. She nodded slowly. You're not. There was a pause before she added. Do you want me to start talking? Only if you're ready. I've been ready, she said. I just needed you to say it first. She slid her phone across the table. I tapped the screen. A voice memo played. Noah's voice. Smooth and polished. Don't worry about Elle. She's not long-term. She's just built into the back end. Then a laugh. Kaya's light and high-pitched, he continued. The real play is visibility. She's a ghost. You're front-facing. That's the future. Michelle pressed pause. Recorded last week. She said, he didn't know I was in the office. Did you tell anyone? No. Not yet. Keep it that way, I said. I'm timing everything. Back at the house, Noah was rehearsing in the living room. Full gestures, polished lines. When he saw me, he grinned. Did you see my quote in Leadership Digest? I did. They called me a generational voice. I nodded. They did. He sat down next to me on the couch, still glowing. You think I'm doing too much? Scaling too fast. You're doing exactly what I expected. He kissed my cheek. That's why I love you. You see the big picture. I smiled, small. I always have. Later that night, Michelle texted me again. Michelle, he just told Kaya you're stepping back soon. That she'll take me. Let him believe it. Michelle, you're building a trap. Me. No. I'm removing the stage. The next team sink. I said almost nothing. I let Michelle lead the agenda. She outlined retreat logistics, influencer onboarding. The soft rubber and Kaya would symbolically support. Noah nodded along, proud. When the call ended, he turned to me. She's coming into her own. She is, I said. He took my hand. You're mentoring her beautifully. I looked down at our joined fingers. She won't survive what's coming. What? Nothing, I said, just thinking out loud. 2 days later, Camille texted, ready for next phase. I replied, soon. Let me firm up the inside first. She sent a thumbs up. I could feel the tension in her silence. I looped Jared in discreetly. We met in the back of a bookstore, between shelves on negotiation and self-help. I need to update the contingency plan, I said. Assume brand collapse. You're not protecting him anymore. I'm protecting the truth. He scanned. The new paperwork. You've covered everything. I had to. Jared leaned forward. You know, if you file first, the narrative belongs to you. I don't need to own the narrative, I said. I just need him not to. Michelle, join me in a quiet co-working space that weekend. She came with a flash drive. Every payment, every contract he promised her. She doesn't even know half of it's fake. I took the drive. He's using her as a shield. Or a decoy. She said. Either way, she's disposable to him. I looked out the window. So was I once. Michelle studied me. And now I'm untouchable. That night, Noah came home with flowers. I booked Paris, he said. You and me. Reset. No work. No stress. I took the bouquet. When? Next month. I nodded. Sounds nice. We need it. You and me. You're right, I said. We do. He kissed my forehead. You're my home, Elle. I looked him in the eye. Then why did you lease the walls to someone else? He blinked, confused. What does that mean? Think about it, I said. Then I walked upstairs. Michelle texted me at midnight. Michelle, she's planning a live announcement with him. End of week. Me. Good. I'll let them set the stage. On Thursday, I walked into the office early. Noah was already there, pacing, hyped on caffeine and ego. This is the moment, he said. We shift everything. Is she ready? She was born ready. I nodded. Let's make sure the cameras are rolling. He grinned. I love when you're all in. I smiled, slow. Always. Michelle entered behind him, caught my glance, and gave the slightest nod. I turned to Noah. Break a leg. He laughed. That's theater, babe. I turned away. Exactly. Asterisk, 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 asterisk. I didn't tell Noah I met with Jared again. I just slipped the updated agreements into a locked folder and watched as he posted a selfie. From the gym captioned grind now, glow later. He always believed branding was everything. He never understood what actually held it together. The first asset I moved was the email list. 75,000 verified subscribers. Purchased, grown, and nurtured mostly by me. I rewrote the permissions clause in the CRM settings and set a backup list to export automatically each night to my personal drive. He never noticed. The second asset was our Stripe account. I created a cloned platform with a mirrored payment gateway, routed revenue from 3 passive products directly into it, and left the main dashboard untouched. A ghost siphoning dollars from a brand he thought was still whole. At dinner, he stirred his risotto with one hand while scrolling with the other. "We're getting so many hits on the Kaya teaser," he said. "This launch is going to be massive." I nodded. People love a story. She's getting better on camera, too. You'd be proud. I'm always proud, I said. Even of liars? He looked up. What? I smiled softly. You heard me. I met Jared the next day at his office. Clean, minimalist, like nothing dangerous ever happened inside. "This is what you asked for," he said, laying out the paperwork. "Separate incorporation, full IP transfer. Ownership structure is now entirely under your name. Everything filed, as of this morning. And the holding company, registered in Delaware, shielded, anonymous." I exhaled once. "Good. You're not looking for a clean break," he said. "You're gutting it from the inside." "I'm just untying my name from the wreckage." He leaned back. "Does he know?" "No," I said. "He thinks I'm still packaging his content." That night, I uploaded a new consulting page under my own name. Clean design. No photos. No testimonials. Just an intake form and a line at the top. "Strategy is what you do in the dark, before the truth steps into the light." It got 37 inquiries in 24 hours. I didn't promote it. I didn't need to. Michelle forwarded me an email Kaya had sent the team. Subject line transitioning L out. In it, Kaya referred to herself as creative director, thanked the staff for their loyalty, and claimed L has been looking to step away for personal clarity. I read it 3 times, then replied to Michelle me. Let her keep digging. I'll hand her the shovel. Noah called an all-hands meeting the next morning. He opened with a grin. "We're entering a new phase," he said. "You've seen Kaya stepping up. You've seen Elle doing less front-facing stuff. This is intentional." He looked at me. "Right, babe?" I smiled. "Very intentional." He went on, talking about scale, vision, international reach. Words that sounded like movement but meant nothing. When it ended, Michelle asked to speak privately. "I'm ready to go on record," she said. "If Camille needs me, she will. And Kaya? She'll find out soon enough what happens when you write a story without reading the contract." Noah booked a photo shoot. "Couples brand refresh," he said. "For legacy. Let's go back to where it started," he said. "Downtown studio. Exposed brick. Old school." He picked out my dress. Black silk, like the one I wore at our first event. "I want them to see that we're still solid," he said. "Are we?" He didn't answer. During the shoot, he whispered in my ear, "Thanks for sticking with me." I turned my face to the camera. "Smile," I said. "This is the last one we take together." That evening, I sent the formal termination letters to partners, 3 vendors, all with clauses triggered by financial misconduct. I attached the receipts. Watermarked. Time-stamped. Noah wasn't copied. Camille was. He came into my office holding his phone. I just got an alert from Peak Focus. They're pulling out. They cited brand inconsistency and compliance concerns. He stared at me. Why didn't I know this? Because I stopped forwarding your mail. He said, low. What's going on? I closed my laptop. You replaced me before I ever left. You lied to me. Slept around me. Undermined everything we built. He swallowed hard. We can fix this. No, I said. You can spin this. I can end it. That night, he paced the kitchen. You've been planning this. Yes. All this time. While I trusted you. You didn't trust me, I said. You depended on me. That's different. He pointed at me. You're the traitor here. I was loyal, I said calmly, to the truth. You were loyal to attention. You want it all for yourself now. I want nothing that came from a lie. He tried again in the morning. We don't have to make this ugly. We don't have to make this anything, I said. He followed me into the hallway. Please. I turned to face him. Check your inbox, I said. Everything you need is there. Then I walked out the door and left him in the silence he made for himself. Camille met me at a private co-working loft tucked above a bookstore in Soho. No front desk. No cameras. Just a key code and a sliding wooden door. She was already there, sitting with her notes, a legal pad, and 2 coffees. I brought espresso, she said. Figured you'd want something sharp. I want it over with, I said, taking the cup. She didn't rush. She never had. The materials you sent, the paper trail is clean. The money transfers. The shell vendors. The NDA formatting. You really documented everything. I had to. And the affair? She asked. Do we print it? No. She looked up. I don't need to humiliate him, I said. I just need the truth to stand taller than his image. We spent 2 hours walking through the receipts. I answered each question without emotion. Dates, payments, timeline, structure. Camille jotted notes in clean, quiet shorthand. You know what makes this story work? She asked. What? You're not angry. I shrugged. That's not the point. She smiled. That's why it'll hit. Later. We sat at opposite ends of the conference table, a stack of recordings between us. Michelle's voice on one, Jared's on another. Even snippets from Noah's podcast statements now proven false, wrapped in charisma and branded lighting. Have you decided if you want to be named? She asked. Not yet. If I write you as anonymous, people will still figure it out. No. She paused. You okay with that? I'm okay with consequences, I said. He should be too. That night, I flew back to LA. Noah wasn't home. Kaya had posted a story from a beachfront rental tagged undisclosed location. He was in the background, blurry but unmistakable. I didn't flinch. I just opened my inbox. Camille had sent the first draft. I read it twice before responding. Needs more detail on the fabricated charities. I've added footnotes. She replied within the hour. Got it. Final edits by Tuesday. Launch planned for dawn Monday morning. I texted Michelle me. You still good to go on record? Michelle. Absolutely me. She'll contact you by noon. Be ready. You're important. Michelle, you were the first person who treated me like I was. Jared called at 10:03 a.m. Camille reached out. He said, wants to verify the LLC restructuring. I gave her permission. She's going wide with this. I know. You sure you don't want to stop it? I want him to feel what silence feels like when it's real. Noah came home that night like nothing had changed. Bag slung over his shoulder. Jacket half-zipped. Tired but pleased. Retreat. Planning is going great, he said, dropping onto the couch. Kaya's vision's really coming together. Her vision, I repeated. She's got a different kind of energy. Unfiltered. I stared at him. He glanced over. You mad again? No, I said. Just remembering who I am. He frowned. The hell does that mean? Everything, I said. And nothing at all. Tuesday. 4:58 a.m. I woke before my alarm. Poured black coffee. Opened my laptop. The article was already live. The false prophet of peak performance. Inside the brand machine of Noah Carterby Camille Tan Modern. Voice A read every word. Not for the story, I knew the story. I read it for the rhythm, the weight, the precision. It was calm, brutal, true. Quotes from former staff, legal commentary, screenshots, flowcharts showing misused funds, ghost charities. The monetized lie of our marriage. My name wasn't printed, but my fingerprints were everywhere. Noah called at 6:12 a.m. I didn't answer. He called again at 6:15, then 6:20, then once more at 6:33, at 7:10, a text. Noah, you need to call me. Now. I closed the phone. Finished my coffee by 9 o'clock. The brand's sponsor portal crashed from traffic. Michelle sent a screenshot. Cancellation notices rolling in. Kaya went silent online at 11:03. Camille called. Are you watching it unfold? I'm watching it. And, you okay? I'm something better, I said. I'm done. At 1 o'clock, Michelle called. He's in the office, she whispered. Slamming drawers. Accusing me of leaking. Deny everything. I did. Good. I didn't lie, she said. I just said I didn't know who started the leak. I smiled. Then you told the truth. At 4:20, Jared called. Legal response incoming. From Noah? Yeah. Bluff letter. Claims defamation. He won't pursue. Nope. We both paused. Then he said, It's done, isn't it? It started, I said. Now it begins. At sunset, I stood outside our old venue, the place we held our first real event. The lights inside were off. The street was quiet. I didn't go in. I didn't need to. Asterisk, 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 asterisk. The email subject line read, Modern Voice Profile Opportunity. L. Carter Private Invitation. I didn't open it right away. I read it once. Then again. 2 hours later. Then I responded, I'll speak, but I won't perform. Hannah Ellis met me in a sunlit office suite overlooking Laurel Canyon. Early 40s, no makeup, pressed linen shirt, eyes sharp. She greeted me with a nod. Not a handshake. Noah passed, she said, motioning to the chair across from her. I expected that. He sent a statement, though. Classic PR. Acknowledges creative differences, denies misconduct, hints at reconciliation. With who? Unclear, she said. You, probably. The public, maybe. Himself, definitely. I sat. Ask what you came to ask. She opened her notebook. Why now? Because timing is everything, I said. And silence has already done what it needed to. She took a breath. You ran that brand for 8 years. I built it. You weren't the face. I wasn't the product, I said. That was Noah. But I was the reason it functioned. And you're speaking now because I want to reclaim authorship. Not attention. She flipped a page. Why stay silent so long? I wasn't silent. I was listening. To what? The cracks. The changes in tone. The justifications. And now I'm done listening. She leaned forward. Did you know about the financial fraud? I suspected it before I confirmed it. Once I knew, I tracked everything. Why not go to the police? Because the public court mattered more. His power wasn't legal. It was narrative. And your goal was to dismantle that. No, I said. My goal was to stop it from growing. She blinked. You don't sound angry. I'm not. Not even betrayed? I was, I said. But betrayal fades when you name it. It becomes pattern, structure, strategy. She scribbled. Did you ever love him? Yes. And now, I love what I learned. She studied me a long moment. You're not interested in revenge. No. But you dismantled his career. I dismantled the lie. What happens to his career is up to him. Why not go public sooner? She asked. Because early exposure wouldn't have worked. I had to let him believe he was safe. He needed to feel untouchable for the fall to be visible. Cold, she said, almost admiringly. No, I said. Controlled. She flipped the page again. Your name is still on some of the brand assets. For now, you plan to take anything. No. You don't want financial compensation? I want distance. Let's talk about Kaya, she said. No. She's part of the story. She's a distraction. I said. This isn't about a mistress. It's about misuse, image laundering, moral branding turned capital. But she was involved. She was an accessory, I said. And she'll learn what that means. Hannah sat back. You're unlike anyone I've interviewed. I've spent 8 years in proximity to artificial clarity. I know how to avoid it. Do you regret staying with him so long? No. Staying let me learn the architecture. And leaving? That was the blueprint. Why did you agree to this interview? Because I knew it would happen either way. Better I shape the angle than let others guess the outline. She paused. You're writing even now, aren't you? Always. She smiled. That'll be in the piece. I nodded. Let it be. As I stood to leave, she said quietly, they'll ask why you never spoke up sooner. They'll ask why you let it grow. Then tell them. I said, turning at the door. I didn't let it grow. I watched it rot. When the article went live, my name wasn't in the title. Just one quote, buried in the 3rd section. Control doesn't always look like power. Sometimes, it looks like a woman who doesn't flinch when everything burns. Asterisk the invitation came through Michelle's inbox. Subject. Legacy Leaders Live. Closing keynote with Noah Carter. Michelle forwarded it with a single line. They're still pretending nothing happened. I replied. Let them. I'm attending. I wore the black silk dress he used to call to Severe. He said it made me look untouchable. Tonight, I wanted that. I didn't sit in the front row. I stood near the back, behind the AV booth. The lighting made it easy to disappear. He didn't know I was there. Kaya did. She spotted me just before going backstage, eyes wide. She turned to whisper something to a handler. I held her gaze until she looked away. Noah stepped into the spotlight like nothing had changed, hair perfectly sculpted, teeth bright, voice crisp. Thank you all for being here, he began. Tonight's about legacy, about what we leave behind when the cameras shut off and the clapping fades. My hands stayed folded. He scanned the crowd like he always did, seeking confirmation. I gave him none. He launched into stories I had once coached him through, slightly altered, some details reshaped to avoid their original source me. Our first event was in a tiny warehouse, he said, smiling. He didn't mention the fact that I paid the deposit, that I edited the promo video in a sleepless, windowless cut room he never did. I joined him on stage for the final 10 minutes, draped in white, poised. Over to rehearsed, he introduced her as a voice for the next wave. She spoke about growth, healing, partnership. It was well rehearsed, flawless, even, but hollow. They ended with a call and response. Noah's signature finish. He called, "What is legacy made of?" The crowd shouted, "Decisions." He raised both hands. "And where do we begin?" The crowd again, with clarity. I didn't move. After the event, I lingered just outside the reception hall, close enough to be seen, not near enough to be approached. Kaya passed by first. Her smile faltered when she saw me. She slowed. Kaya, you didn't RSVP. I wasn't on the list. She fidgeted with the strap of her clutch. You look powerful. You look nervous. She blinked. Are you here to? No, I said. I'm already done. I stepped past her, calm, unhurried. Noah saw me 10 minutes later, talking to a former sponsor near the open bar. His face flickered surprise, then caution. He approached slowly. Alone? You came, he said. I nodded. To see the ending. He looked around. You still have access to these people. They were never yours. He swallowed. We did, I said. That was the performance. This is the curtain. He ran a hand through his hair. You could have talked to me. I did, I said. You were too loud to hear it. He took a breath. You really won't stop. I already stopped, I said. Everything else is just the echo. I left before the lights dimmed. I didn't turn round. Not even when the crowd applauded again. It wasn't for me. It never was. And yet I was the only one who walked out with my name intact. Asterisk. It went out at 6 a.m. sharp. Subject line. Behind the brand. The full picturino images. No promotions. Just a black header, white text, and Camille's byline in bold. The mailing list was mine. Technically ours, but I'd isolated it weeks ago. 75,000 inboxes received it simultaneously by 6:07. My phone buzzed with the first wave of replies. Michelle texted at 6:13. Michelle, he hasn't seen it yet. His calendar blocked till 7:30. Me. Let him sleep through the storm. Camille had chosen her words with surgical care. The article was factual, time-stamped, and brutal in its simplicity. No speculation, no adjectives, just data, sequence, voices, testimonies, from to former interns. Jared's legal summary, Michelle's signed affidavit, screenshots of the fake charity pipelines, even a quote from the accountant who quietly resigned in 2023. At the center of it all, Noah's smiling face, side by side with the numbers that told the truth. I watched the analytics refresh in real time. 628 minus 14,000 opens 647. 31,000 opens 703 minus 51,000 opens 712. Trending on LinkedIn under hashtag brand collapse by 7:30. Noah called me. I didn't answer. At 7:52, his name began disappearing from websites. First, one of our mid-tier partners quietly removed him from their homepage. Then a podcast we'd sponsored removed 6 episodes by 8:15. I received a mass email from a wellness brand titled, Statement Regarding Noah Carter Association. I forwarded it to Camille. Effective immediately. We are severing all partnerships. She texted back. It's moving faster than I thought. Truth usually does. I wrote at 8:41. Kaya posted a story, a black background, white text. There are always two sides. Don't judge until you've heard both. I didn't respond. Neither did most of her audience. By 9:10, the comment section on her last video had turned. Did you know? Were you part of this? Say something or we assume everything. She deleted the post at 9:23. Then her account went private. At 9:45, I walked into the old office one last time. Michelle was already there, standing by the front window. He's not coming in, she said. Called out sick. Not surprising. She handed me an envelope. This came to the shared inbox. You might want to see it. Inside was a single page, a cease and desist letter, sent from Noah's attorney. It accused me of defamatory collaboration, invasion of privacy, and brand interference. I folded it once and placed it on the desk. Is he serious? Michelle asked. No, I said. He's scared. By 10:30, 3 more sponsors had pulled public support. 2 asked for refunds. Camille's inbox had over 400 interview requests. She turned down all of them. At noon, she posted a final note on her feed. The work speaks. We don't need to. At 12:46, Noah sent me a voice note. His voice was slower now, less sharp. I don't know what you think you're doing, L. But this doesn't end well for anyone. You think you win because you stayed quiet and dropped a bomb. You didn't win anything. You lost the only thing that gave you value. Me. I listened twice, then deleted it. At 1:12 p.m., I received a call from a production company we'd once pitched. I know the timing's strange. The rep said, but if you ever want to tell your version, I already have, I said. She hesitated. There's interest. You're the one they want to hear from now. I paused. Then they should start by reading what I didn't say. By 2:30, hashtags with Noah's name were trending, most of them unflattering. Clips of his motivational speeches were stitched with headlines from the article. A video montage showed him preaching about radical transparency while a narrator read excerpts from Camille's piece. Michelle sent one final message before logging off for the day. Michelle, you changed the way people see him. You gave people language for what they sensed but couldn't name. Me. I didn't change how they see him. I stopped protecting what wasn't real. At 5:45 p.m., I walked along the bluff near our old launch venue. The wind was high, the ocean dark and steady. I didn't cry. I didn't even feel triumphant. I felt clean, like finally putting down something heavy I'd carried so long it had reshaped my posture. At 6 p.m., exactly 12 hours after the blast, I logged into the CRM one last time, opened the subscriber list, then deleted it. All 75,000 names, no backup, no export, no more ghosts. Asterisk asterisk. By Wednesday morning, 3 of Noah's top clients had cut ties. One posted a vague note. We take ethics seriously and are reevaluating our partnerships. Another simply deleted every post that mentioned him. The third issued a formal statement, naming the breach of trust and citing Camille's investigation as cause for immediate withdrawal. He called me at 7:04 a.m. I let it ring out. At 7:08, he texted, Noah, talk to me. Please, Noah. We can clean this up. You're not protected either. I turned the phone face down and opened my laptop. By 10 o'clock, a journalist from Fastco emailed me requesting a follow-up. I declined. By 11 o'clock, Kaya posted a tearful apology video on her backup account. She wore soft makeup and a cream sweater. The filter blurred the edges of her face. "I didn't know what I was stepping into," she said. "I believed him. He said she was stepping back." The comments were ruthless. "You benefited. You signed NDA letters. You stayed quiet for the perks." By noon, the video was removed. So was her entire profile. Michelle texted, "He's in meltdown. Office door shut. Staff told to work remotely indefinitely. You still in contact with anyone on the team?" I asked too. "They're watching. Quietly." I replied, "Tell them. Do nothing. Just observe at to 17. He tried again." Noah L. "What did I do that made you want to destroy everything?" I didn't respond, because that wasn't the right question. What he should have asked was, "What did I do that made you decide I was no longer worth protecting?" At 4:05, I received a call from Jared. "He's panicking," Jared said. "His lawyer sent over a settlement offer. Financial. Yeah. He wants to resolve any overlapping liabilities in exchange for silence. Send me the draft." Already did. I opened the file, scanned. He was offering 6 figures for me to retract and sign a permanent non-disclosure agreement. I forwarded it to Camille. She replied, "The timing's perfect." At 5:42 p.m., Noah posted a video titled, "I need to say this." White background, slouched shoulders, no branding. He looked exhausted. "I've made mistakes," he said. "We all have. But I've also been targeted, misunderstood, taken out of context." Comments were off. View count rose quickly, then plateaued. Someone leaked a screenshot of the YouTube dashboard later that night. The dislike count was triple the likes. Michelle sent a voice memo just after 7 p.m. "He's yelling in the building. Doors closed, pacing. I think he knows it's over." I played it twice. You could hear his voice through the drywall, frantic. Less like a leader, more like a man drowning. She followed with a text. "Michelle, this is the unraveling. I almost feel sorry for him, me. I don't, but I understand it." At 8:30, I walked past his profile online, not on purpose, just habit. His bio was still the same, helping the world get clear, one voice at a time. But there was no voice left, just reposted quotes and recycled video clips that now rang hollow. Clarity can't be trademarked. Not when it's borrowed. Not when it's broken. I stood on my balcony as the sun dropped behind the hills. No champagne, no toast, just quiet. A collapse isn't always loud. Sometimes it's just a man opening his inbox and realizing there's nothing left to sell. Asterisk asterisk. The knock came at 7:43 p.m. Sharp, deliberate. I didn't expect him. Not tonight. I opened the door. Noah stood there, shirt untucked, eyes wide but tired. "Can we talk?" he asked, voice low. I stepped aside. He entered without waiting. He looked around the living room as if it had changed since last time. "It's quiet here," he said, "because I decided it would be." He sat on the edge of the couch. "I don't understand. Why all this? Why now?" I folded my hands in my lap. "Because I stopped seeing you." "What does that mean?" I saw the man on stage. The man behind closed doors. The man who lied to everyone. His face tightened. "It wasn't like you think." "Then explain it." He swallowed. "I wanted to protect us. By lying." He nodded. "I thought I was doing the right thing." "Right thing for who?" He looked down. "For me." I stood, walked toward the window. Do you know what you took from me? He didn't answer. Peace, I said. My peace. My trust. My voice. He looked up, pain flickering in his eyes. I kept secrets, he said. But I never meant to hurt you. Intentions don't erase outcomes. He rubbed his face. I'm sorry. Sorry isn't enough. He reached for me. I stepped back. Noah, I said calmly, I'm not the person you can fix with apologies. He nodded slowly. Then what do you want? Justice, I said. For the people you hurt. For the lies you told. And for you. I want the truth to live louder than your story. He looked exhausted. And if I refuse, then I'll make sure everyone knows anyway. There was a long silence. Then, quietly, he said, I don't want this to be the end. It is, I said. He stood, hesitated. Thank you for coming, I added. He nodded. He walked toward the door, then paused. He said. I turned. Why didn't you leave sooner? I smiled, faint, because I needed to build something else first. The door closed softly behind him. I sank onto the couch, breathing steady. The confrontation wasn't a victory. It was closure. I opened my phone, typed a message to Camille. It happened. She replied immediately, goodbye. Deleted his number. An asterisk the first morning in my new apartment. The light filtered softly through sheer curtains, no noises. No agendas, just quiet. I made coffee without checking my phone. No Noah. No messages. No whispers of chaos. I sat at the small kitchen table, the steam rising from the cup. The space was smaller than before, cozy, manageable, no sprawling brand materials, no staged photos. Just me. I drafted the launch email for my consultancy under my own name, no logos borrowed from our past, no promises of grandeur, just clarity. Strategy is the space between silence and truth. I typed, then I hit send. Jared called later. Congrats, he said. The LLC filings went through smoothly. I'm relieved. You ready for this next chapter? I am. Michelle stopped by unannounced that afternoon. You look different, she said. I feel different. She smiled. It shows. We talked for hours, not about Noah, not about the past, but about future clients, potential projects, real work. Noah's social media had become a ghost town, no updates, no announcements. I didn't check. I didn't want to. Instead, I spent mornings in the park, jogging, reading, writing. One evening, a friend called. Are you happy? I paused. Yes, I said, no hesitation. Months later, I was invited to speak at a women's leadership summit. I declined the spotlight. I spoke from a quiet room, behind a camera, no fanfare, just honesty. I told my story not of revenge, but of reclaiming power, of finding peace after betrayal. After the talk, I received messages from women who understood, who had been betrayed, who had stayed silent too long. I replied, I'm here. Peace isn't loud, it's the absence of lies. And I finally have mine. Asterisk sometimes, late at night. I write letters in my journal, never sent, never addressed. Pages for the ghosts I carried, dear Noah. Did you ever think I'd stop loving you? Did you ever see a world where you lost control of the narrative? There were nights when I believed you, even when I shouldn't have. You taught me the price of trust. You taught me to keep my own secrets. But here's what you never learned. My silence was never your victory. It was my decision, not your power. You once said I was too calm for my own good. Maybe that's why you underestimated me. Maybe that's why you believed I would never leave. You were wrong. Dear Kaya, I don't blame you. I understand the seduction of power, the way it feels to be chosen, spotlighted, believed in. I hope you find something truer than what he offered. I hope you learn that the best kind of attention is the kind you give yourself. There's a freedom in not competing for air. There's a peace in not defending your story. If you ever wonder if you deserved better, the answer is yes, dear self. Forgive yourself for the years you spent waiting for someone to see you, for building your world around a promise you never wrote, for letting fear masquerade as loyalty. You are not the lie. You are not the secret. You are the architect of your own voice. You chose to rise instead of remain. That matters. I close the journal. It feels lighter. Somehow, one night, I found a draft email I'd started after the collapse. Just the subject line. For your clarity, no message, no explanation. I remember the feeling, my hand hovering over the keys, unsure if any words would matter. They wouldn't have. He would have read them and missed the meaning, like he missed everything I said that didn't serve his image. Sometimes closure isn't conversation, it's letting the words live unspoken. It's choosing to write the ending for yourself. I tucked the journal onto the shelf. I don't need to open it again, but I know it's there, filled with evidence of my own survival. The letter I never sent is the proof I never owed him, or her, or anyone, just myself. Months passed. The world moved on, as it always does. Scandals fade. New stories rise to take their place. Most people forgot Noah's name, or replaced it with a footnote, a cautionary tale about the dangers of believing your own branding. But I remembered, not out of pain, not out of vengeance, but as a reminder of what clarity really costs and what it gives. I stood backstage at the Women's Summit, palm pressed to a note card, listening to the low hum of 100 quiet voices gathering. This wasn't his kind of event, no spotlights, no live stream, no roaring crowd. This was different. I looked out at the audience. Women of every age, faces bright with curiosity, expectation, hope. I stepped to the lectern. The room fell silent. No music, no announcement, just me. My name is Elle. I used to be someone else's echo. Now, I'm just myself. No applause. Not yet. Just the air shifting. I want to talk to you about silence, about the spaces we give away and the ones we reclaim, about the stories we let other people write for us until we realized the pen was always in our hand. I paused. The weight of their attention didn't frighten me. It freed me. I told them what I'd learned, not about Noah, not about Kaya, not about betrayal, about myself, about the patience it takes to survive in the shadows, about the courage it takes to step out, about the quiet violence of being underestimated, and the quiet power of letting them. A woman in the front row raised her hand. How do you know when it's time to leave? She asked. I smiled, soft. You know when the room feels smaller than your voice, when silence starts to feel like suffocation instead of sanctuary. Another asked, did you ever regret staying so long? I regret the times I doubted my intuition, but every day I stayed taught me the difference between endurance and surrender. Endurance is loving yourself enough to outlast the storm. Surrender is letting someone else decide when you're finished. There was a long, quiet moment. Then another voice, trembling but fierce. How did you find your power again? I met her gaze. By watching myself survive. By realizing survival is not shame. It's proof. It's blueprint. Power isn't loud. It's consistent. It's showing up, even if your hands shake. They listened. They nodded. Some cried. It was nothing like the events I used to plan for him. It was everything I never knew I needed. Afterward, a young woman lingered at the edge of the stage. She looked at me the way I once looked at the world, hopeful, uncertain, ready for permission. She said, "Thank you." I thought I was the only one who stayed quiet too long. I shook her hand. "You weren't. None of us are." I left the summit with no fanfare, no press, no new followers, just a fullness in my chest that felt like ownership. On the walk back to my apartment, the city lights flickered. I felt anonymous, content, deeply present. My phone vibrated. A new client inquiry, no referral, no drama, just a woman's name and 4 words. Ready to get clear. I smiled. At home, I poured a glass of water, sat by the window, and opened my journal. Not to write a letter I'd never send, but to draft a new page. Things I know now. Silence is a tool, not a punishment. No one owns my story but me. Peace is not given. It's claimed. The power grows in the places we stopped asking for permission. You don't have to set the world on fire to rebuild your own foundation. The stage I built wasn't made of lights, followers, or applause. It was made of choice, mine, and I will never give it away again. ***********.